What's going on, guys? Please click the link below in the description box to be entered for the free stud credit giveaway. Once you click that link, you will follow all directions to be entered for the free stud credit giveaway. And once again, and always, thank you for watching. Enjoy.
Like in reality, though, you really gotta be focused with this shit. You gotta be committed to this shit. Like, if anybody trying to stop your happiness, man, or trying to stop your success, man, like, that's dead weight. That's the type of shit you really gotta cut off. Can't nobody stop what you got going on. Oh, God.
All right, what's going on, YouTube? Just got off on Exit56 again. All right, this next topic we're gonna talk about. I get some people sometimes when they hit me and they be trying to decide whether they want a boy or girl. Me personally, I've done a video about this already. In my opinion, I always tell them girl, and then it also depends on what you're trying to do. You know, usually they say breed, and I always say girl. But there's some guys I know that's breeding that started off with a male, and they had a plan for that male. They got a badass male, and they did whatever they did with it. But I'm gonna always say a girl. That's just me personally. But other people may say something else. So I figured I'd ask my guy, what he think about, as far as you first hopping in. So if you first hop into the game, would you prefer a female or a male?
Well, I'm gonna speak on my experience, and when I first jumped in the game, I jumped in with a female. And I always tell anybody jumping in new to the game, get you a female first.
Okay.
Because even if you go buy that female, once she has puppies, those puppies become your production.
Okay.
So in order to be a breeder, that's what you want. You want productions and generations of productions. Now on down the line, you can produce your own male. You know what I mean? Which that's what old school breeders like myself prefer to do. You know what I mean? Produce your own male.
Okay.
But you definitely want to get your female, a quality female at that. Don't just buy any female. You know what I mean? Research the blood. You know what I mean? Research what the blood produces. You know what I mean? What genetic traits come from that blood, and then you kind of go from there. You know what I mean? I also know what type of dog that you're trying to produce. You know what I mean? Do you want more of a pocket, show quality dog, with a little muzzle on it, cleaner stand, full tail, like all that stuff matters. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, what they do is they try to shortcut. They want to get a cheap dog and then try to go use a top stud to get what you want. You're moving backwards that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, my opinion, if you're jumping in the game, start with a female first.
Start with a female.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember who I was talking to one time. It was two guys who was chopping it up, and both of them basically said male. And I'm trying to figure out like why. And I think what they were saying was, hey, if I get a male, I can pretty much stud out, right? I can stud out, blah, 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 blah. I can always go buy a female. Their logic was everybody is looking for a badass stud. If I go buy a badass stud, then I can easily stud out, blah, 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 and I can go and find a female.
Which is true. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now, if you have the funds to go buy you a quality male, and you're willing to put in the time to advertise that male and promote him the way that he should be promoted for him to get that type of work, then bam, that's cool. You do that. You know what I mean? But like I said, for first timers who jumping in the game and you can't afford to go buy a top quality stud or those type of things, just buy you a nice quality female and produce from that aspect of it. But getting a male is not out of the question.
Okay. Yeah. So if you got all right, let's say hypothetically, you finna go buy a dog, your first litter. I know you just said get a girl because you can produce production, blah, blah, blah. But let's say you got an undeniable male right there and an undeniable female, both off they litter mates.
They litter mates, okay.
And this male can probably take you to the next level, whatever. Because his father was a producer, mother was a producer, blah, 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 blah. And the female could possibly do the same thing if you breed her right. But for a fact, with this male, you probably ain't got to worry about no litters. You just gonna stud out. Your promotion, A1, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So if you got both of them, they top notch. Are you still choosing the female, or you gonna
I'm choosing the male.
Choosing male?
Me personally,
Okay.
I'm gonna choose the male. You know what I mean? I know how I promote and work dogs and set whatnot. But you know what I mean? Deniable is the key word. If it's undeniable, you know what I mean? Then how can you not pick the male? You know what I mean? With females, the only time that they are producing or making money for you is when they having puppies. You know what I mean? So with the male, you know what I mean, from the money aspect of it, he can constantly bring in funds to help your program. And not only that, you know what I mean, if you breed him correctly, he'll help, you know what I mean, promote himself with great productions. So yeah, you know what I mean? Male is, you know what I mean, that me personally right now, that's kind of where I'm at. You know, most of my females are co-owned out. You know what I mean? I got my male here, my stud, you know what I mean? If he's not producing the way I want a dog to produce, I definitely don't keep him. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I love all my dogs, but at the same time, this is a business.
It's a business, yeah. And I think that was the point the other gentleman was making, like, you don't have to have a litter, you can always make the money, just stud them out, you don't got to worry about it.
You can.
So do you think, I think I've heard somebody say, and it was recently, they was talking about males, and they were saying, like, that's pretty much the face of your kennel. So do you agree with that? Like a male is pretty much between the, we all know you need foundation females. We hear that all the time. Foundation bitches, foundation bitches. Like, but when it comes to like the face of a kennel, is the face of a kennel, can it be a female, or is it it's usually a male, it seems like?
It's definitely a male, you know what I mean? You know, now don't get me wrong, back in the days we had a lot of badass females that were faces of kennels. You know what I mean? And people wanted pups off of them. But right now where the game is gone, it's all about the male. It's all about the stud, you know what I mean? And rightfully so, you know what I mean? Even though a lot of people get it misconstrued, that if you're not breeding that stud to a quality bitch, you're not gonna get the shit that you think you're gonna get all the time. But yeah, you know what I mean? Studs are the faces of kennels and breeding programs, and that's how it is right now.
So you would prefer to get a female, but like I said,
starting out.
Yeah, starting out. Yeah. So that's the key word, starting out. You prefer a female, unless you starting out and you got the change, you got the money to spend, and you run across an undeniable male. And but the key word, like you said, is undeniable. And even if you get an undeniable male, if your promotion not on point, then it's not gonna matter.
It's not gonna matter. So, you know what I mean? The dog gotta be seen. The dog got to be working, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen a lot of badass dogs over my 20 years in this game, you know what I mean, that are just a badass dog, you know what I mean? Like I said, you know, you need to be taking your male to different types of female, different bloods, different structures. And also people just, you know what I mean, key side note, every puppy that you get, it's not a breeding quality dog, you know what I mean? Some of y'all need to learn how to say this is just a pet home dog, you know what I mean? That way it'll help the breeding programs and the dog game out a lot more. So you know what I mean? Don't be afraid to say, no, this is not of the quality that I feel like is a breeding dog, especially if you have a vision for your program. So you know what I mean? Don't be afraid to pet home out some of these puppies and things like that, you know what I mean? But you know, just key side note for y'all.
I'm gonna put that in my notes because that's a topic, and it just make me wonder, like, when you say, you know, you say vision, you gotta have vision.
You gotta have vision.
Some people still don't know what's quality and what's not quality, what's pet home, what's not pet home.
Correct.
You know, because they get attached to the breedings or whatever. But I ain't gonna get into that because right now it's about boy girl. Is there anything else you want to go over as far as like boy girl or?
You know, like I said, man, you know, with your studs, man, make sure, you know, health-wise that you have a healthy dog, you know what I mean? He's not, you know, all toe up, dysfunctional, things like that, you know what I mean? You know, in order to keep this breed and this thing going, this dog game we got going on, make sure you breed healthy dogs, you know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong, you know, all these dogs have certain kind of flaws in them, you know what I mean? But we don't want the shit to be overly dramatic flaws, you know what I mean? So, you know, take care of that aspect of it. Also the same thing with your females. You know, make sure they're healthy, up to date on everything you need to do, you know what I mean, deworm, all that good stuff like that. But as long as you got good quality dogs, male or female, love them, take care of them, they'll do what they need to do for you, for sure.
Okay. All right. You guys know the slogan. You want it, I got it. I don't, I get it. Get why the getting is good. I remember time is your greatest inventory. Signing off. Exit 56. Peace.